Hello class, my name is Steve Coleman. I am going to be your instructor for this online ENR 5270 soil fertility class. I'm excited to be with you, virtually of course. This is the first time I've taught this course online, although I have taught it for a number of years as a shared um, course based both in Worcester and in Columbus. But this is our first attempt to make it online. So I'm going to start up front by saying really looking forward to any kind of feedback or that you might have in terms of how we might optimize this. If something isn't working for you, please let me know. Okay. So this is a fall offering. We're going to go the full semester of 15 weeks this fall, and then this is a course that will be repeated as an online offering every fall. Okay. I am an assistant professor and state specialist at Ohio State. I am based in Worcester, and I thought to really start the course, we might just go over the syllabus to some degree. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this into full screen. You'll find the syllabus under the module section or the syllabus section in Carmony. It's cross-posted there. I'm going to just focus our efforts here on the syllabus, so I'll make this full screen. Okay. So my appointment, in case you want to know a little bit more about me, I've been here. This is actually my 6th year at Ohio State. I have a extension, a research, and a teaching appointment, so I have what is called a three-way split. I'm mostly an extension and research professor. That's where most of my activities lie, but I also teach this course along with another graduate course in the fall. Okay, so I'm excited to kind of share this with you, and hopefully that this is going to be a good journey of learning for both of us. The course is intended to be a bit of a jack of many trades, right? So we're going to take a poll here very shortly in the course to find out exactly where you're coming from and what interests you. But over the last 5 years that I have taught this, we find that there's a mix of students from undergraduates and graduates. It's listed as a 5,000, so there's both upper-level undergraduates as well as graduate students. Some of you will be coming from a really applied agronomic background, like an agronomy major per se. Some of you might be a grad student that, say, soil or soil fertility isn't your primary topic or discipline, but you want to know a little bit more about how nutrient cycle in soil, what governs nutrient processes, et cetera, et cetera. So we hope, or it's my intention, it has been my intention since I started teaching this, is that we can provide some flexibility in terms of content to meet your needs, but we absolutely need to lay a bit of a foundation and for, that will help a lot of people in terms of the concepts and what is delivered. I will state up off the front that most of my work in the extension world and in the research world is in terms of agronomic field crops. Obviously, those dominate the landscape in Ohio, and that's where I spend a lot of my time and effort. Certainly not all of my time and effort, but so there will be a bit of an agronomic slant to this class. I like to spend a lot of time talking about soil health and thinking about some of the new interests, revived interest in soil health, and thinking about fertility not just from a fertilizer perspective, but from a kind of an overall ecosystem perspective, a soil ecosystem, because it's not, fertility doesn't, in my mind at least, isn't narrowly defined as just soil chemistry, but it deals with biology, it deals with physical structure, so it's this critical piece, okay? I'm going to move on to the learning objectives. And you can read these just as well as I can read them to you, but we're really interested in, at the end of this course, that each and every one of you will be able to describe the primary factors that govern nutrient cycling and nutrient behavior in soils. This is a very fundamental piece in terms of the concept. We need to identify specific considerations with cycling and management of key macronutrients. So nitrogen is not the same as phosphorus, isn't the same as potassium, et cetera, et cetera. And we need to understand some of those nuances. I'd like for you to be able to diagnose some common nutrient deficiencies and understand a variety of different diagnostic tools that exist to help look at nutrient deficiencies or toxicities even. I'd like for you to be able to develop lime and fertilizer recommendations for numerous crops that we find in Ohio. And then kind of finally to recognize that's the different soil and crop management strategies that improve soil health. So there can be a lot in that last objective kind of package, but just as a kind of a synthetic overarching goal is that we want to be able to have a good understanding of how we might manage soil resources or crop resources to improve soil health and soil fertility overall. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the syllabus a little bit by bit and try to keep this fairly brief, but there is no required textbook for this course. The textbook that I highly recommend as an aid to help with the concepts is this Soil Fertility and Fertilizers. This is a book that has been relatively recently updated. I guess it's 5 years ago, but it's still highly relevant. There are hardback and paperback editions of this book that you can find online, and they're relatively affordable. The hardcover edition might be expensive, but there's a very good paperback. This is an essential reference. If you feel like you're going to be working in the area of soil fertility or agronomy or just dealing with this is a kind of an indispensable reference. So I would highly recommend you invest maybe $40 or so to pick this up. There are additional texts that exist, and you can search for these if you like. These are really more aimed to practitioners and kind of cover the core concept. So if you thought you might be interested in a career in extension after this or working really closely with growers, these might be good resources for you to consider as well. I'm going to do my best throughout the semester to help you, help yourself to learn the material and to give you the amount of support that I possibly can. But of course, we understand that I'm not IT help support. So if you are having like technology issues with logging on or with things timing out or with viewing content, please check with me first. But if it's not something that's wrong with the Carmen interface itself, I'm going to direct you to OCIO and the OSU help desk. So here are the links for that. That's kind of basic stuff. You need just basic technical skills. I assume if you've self-enrolled in an online course, you have competency in computers and are familiar with that Carmen system as well. We will be using, of course, Carmen exclusively for this course. And thinking about the equipment, you basically need a computer. You've got access to Microsoft 365, the cloud-based Microsoft Office suite, essentially. So that's a nice feature or whatever. Okay, jumping into the grading. Okay, so we again have undergraduates and graduates students enrolled, and the point distribution is broken down by this. And so really, there's quizzes, there's assignments for undergrads, there's a comprehensive exam, and then there's this small percentage in terms of class participation. Okay, so this is something that we're going to be looking at. I'll be evaluating based on your kind of engagement, the quality of your feedback, et cetera, et cetera. Small bit of wiggle room with points in that regard. The main difference between the undergrad and the grad is you can see the undergrads have this comprehensive exam, and the graduate students will be required not to take a comprehensive exam but to do an outreach video. So we can talk a little bit about all of this in just a second. Let me scroll down. Our quizzes are going to be Carmen based, so they're going to be completely online. You're going to be required to take 6 of them, and then we will drop your lowest score. So 5 quizzes at 10% each will be roughly, well, not roughly, it will be precisely half of your grade for this course. So these quizzes are really intended to test your competency, your command of the material. They'll be every 2 to 3 weeks. You can see the due dates here, and you'll find that I will be a stickler about do-overs. There's going to be no makeup quizzes allowed unless it's prior arranged. So we have this flexibility. If you have I realize that life happens, but you really need to communicate that with me before when the due date is. These will be due at the kind of the stated table. So I just ask that you let me know what's going on. I'm going to be more than happy to provide an extension or try to help you succeed here. But if you come to me 2 days after the quiz and say, "Oh, I totally forgot," blah blah blah, well, that's something that lies in your wheelhouse in terms of it being your responsibility. So take 6 quizzes at these stated dates. These are the due dates, so you'll be able to take them before this time. Drop the lowest score, so you've got 5 quizzes at 50% of your grade. Then we'll have 6 assignments, okay? So these assignments will be intended to test your command of the material, and we'll get into each one of these individually as they come up. But the due dates are again posted here, and again, in terms of these are kind of hard due dates. If you have turn in an assignment late, it's going to be a 20% reduction per day. So that's a big hit. We want you to get your material in on time and move forward. Okay, so that's the story with that. A comprehensive exam for undergrads is going to test your ability to synthesize information. It will differ from the format of quizzes. It will mostly be short answer essay format instead of maybe multiple choice and matching, which is what the quizzes are primarily going to be. For graduate students, we're going to have, you'll be required to identify a topic and an audience and essentially create a succinct, high-quality video in something that interests you and is hopefully aligned with your research and career path or your, wherever you're going, whatever you're interested, what brought you to be a graduate student at OSU. We want it to be relevant to that. Okay. We have a standard grading scale, as you'll see here. I'm going to do my best. It's everybody's busy. Life happens. I'm trying to get back to students as quickly as I can. If you email me, I'm going to say that, no more than 2 weeks in terms of providing grading and feedback, and no more than 2 days in terms of responding to email. So hopefully it will be, well within this. But I do have some travel in the fall and whatnot, and I'll let you all know about that as things come up. Okay, so you can, for the sake of time, I'll say that you can look over. We're hoping that you're going to be logging in at least once per week. That's going to be a bare minimum. And if you really want to be successful in this course, you're going to have to, of course, log in more than that and spend some time with the material, not just kind of log in once a week, binge consume everything and then and then log out and think that you're going to be able to retain it all. So I'd recommend that you spend as much time with the site and with the materials as you like. We want to keep an open and welcoming online presence, and so there's just some comments about professionalism where you're writing emails to me, you're writing emails or commenting on other students. We'd like you to keep a conversational tone. That's perfectly fine, but please bring a sense of profession to this, using grammar, punctuation. You're not sending a text message to your friends, so please just keep it professional, as our relationship will be a very professional relationship. We ask that you keep your tone civil, right? We can agree to disagree. Um, in this world, we need tolerance and civility more than ever. So let's try to start right here in our own backyard, setting an example about that. Okay. OSU has a very strict academic integrity policy. It's very clearly laid out. I don't like to spend a lot of time on this, recognizing that as an online course, there is ample opportunity for cheating or for pressuring your peers for help. I'm just going to say that I'm more than happy to serve as a resource for this. If you feel like anyone's putting you in a compromising position, please come and talk to me about that. We can schedule a time to meet in person. I'm in Columbus. I'm in Worcester from time to time. We can always set up a phone call. This is just, this is behavior that, of course, isn't tolerated by the university. And if we, as instructors, suspect that there's misconduct happening, that there's cheating happening, or borrowing of materials, I'm obligated to report that. And then there's going to be a investigation that's opened up into this. So this is just kind of standard operating procedure. I don't welcome this. I don't want this to happen. I really hope that we can, think about an existence where this is not, not going to be a concern for us moving forward in the semester. Okay. We take mental health very seriously. We take, there's services out there. If you're having trouble with this course and you're feeling really, really down, I would encourage you to contact me and to talk to me. There's plenty of resources available that are here. I'm listing them here just for you. If you have a disability, please let me know. It'd be good for me to know that from the start. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. And then the course schedule. Okay, so let's talk about this for just a little bit before we wrap up. And this will get fleshed out over the course of the semester, but a lot of, maybe the first, say, 2/3 of this course really follow that Haviland textbook, and that will be a good guide for us moving forward. So really from the next lecture, the very first lecture, all the way up to this, say, October 22nd, maybe blending into this week 10, 11, and 12, is going to be a lot of material from that textbook. These are core concepts looking first at acidity, well, first, of course, at basic soil relationships, then soil acidity and alkalinity. These are, kind of overarching. It's going to help frame the course. We're going to move into the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is a really important nutrient, of course, so we're going to spend 2 full weeks on that. We have essentially our September 16th, in some ways, is a week off. For some of us, it won't be a week off, but content will be a little bit light, and we'll talk about a farm science review assignment for this 5th week. We're going to spend 2 full weeks on phosphorus because in Ohio it's such an important nutrient, and it's a nutrient of key interest. We'll talk about potassium. We'll get into some of these other secondary macronutrients, micronutrients, etc. So we'll spend some time with each one of these. And then really starting in week 11, we're going to get into some more of the newer technology, more soil health. And then allow people to develop their ideas, help frame what you want to learn, and think about this piece. Okay, so we'll use this as a guide, and I'm going to be soliciting feedback from you in terms of topics that you really want to cover. There's going to be, especially in the latter half of the course, there's going to be, I've historically had this be a fair amount of wiggle room that we're able to do to kind of cover the information that you want to cover. And so again, I'll be looking for feedback from you about that. So I I went over this really quick. I understand that. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of break these down piece by piece, but this is just intended to be kind of a broad overview of what you expect in this course. And so I'm more than happy to answer any emails. We might even think about posting discussions about the syllabus and what you can expect in the course. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'm going to, really the best way to get a hold of me is via email. It's Coleman.2. I'm often not in my office, so you're welcome to call and leave a message. But if you want to schedule a phone conversation, it's probably better just to email me at coleman.2@osu.edu, and then we can schedule a time to talk. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the course and interacting with you all in a professional online context. And I'll be posting lectures to Carmen starting this evening. I'm going to record the first lecture and have that available. So we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And again, welcome to Soil Fertility. I think it's going to be a good semester.